But there are other forms of power in our world beside the wielding of death. It is also possible for us to worship the power of life. Now, while the god of war, Ares, may be a far more famous god than Asclepius, the god of health, Asclepius is no deity to be scoffed at. Asclepius was a renowned god of old, and we worship him still today too, as evidenced by the time, money, reverence, and sacrifices of freedom and comfort we're willing to lay at the altar of Asclepius. Look no further than the World Health Organization, whose central symbol, a staff with a snake coiled around it, is the very symbol that represents Asclepius. But seeing the modern-day worship of Asclepius and the impact that this worship has on our world is often much harder to identify than the impact of the god of war. Whereas Ares can't help but leave his footprint wherever he goes, Asclepius, like the snake which represents him, slithers discreetly into the nooks and crannies of history, concealing his true venomous self. The god of health, as we've already identified in our first episode of this section, has a number of tricks up his sleeve. The primary trick is that he hides his destructive nature behind good intent, behind benevolence. He's so often a consequentialist, one who can justify enacting a great evil so long as he can imagine it leading to an even greater good. He actually does evil so that some potential good might arise, and assumes that evil is an equation of sums rather than that of products. One might end up with something left over if you can subtract a great evil from an even greater good. But if one multiplies the greatest good by evil's factor, which is always 0, what are we left with? Nothing but evil, which is nothingness itself. To put it more crudely, how small of a piece of poop would I have to mix into a batch of brownies and you still eat it? One drop ruins the whole batch. It's behind this batch of poopy brownies that Asclepius hides, behind a convoluted and bankrupt moral framework.